This is my cat, Julia. We noticed from a young age that she really enjoys watching TV. And the other week I stumbled upon a YouTube video where they have different animals running across the screen in a way that's exciting for cats to watch. I thought it would be fun to build my own version of this inside of Cursor, and in this video I'm going to show you what I ended up building for Julia and teach you a few lessons I learned about vibe coding along the way. The project I wanted to build was simple. An HTML document where different animals that cats are typically intrigued by come in and out of the frame randomly. I wanted to have sound effects for each animal too. In true vibe coding fashion, I opened up Cursor and told my AI coding agent what I wanted to make, and my assistant started writing code immediately. That was a big mistake. If there's one thing that's becoming increasingly clear to me the more I use Cursor or AI coding assistants in general, it's that you should not ignore the planning stage. AIs will just respond as best they can with whatever you give them, and oftentimes we assume that they know all of the different nuances of the project we're building. We assume they can read our minds. In this way, it's not that different from delegating a task to other humans. I'm sure you've experienced this before. When you need someone to help you get something done, you explain what you want done to that person and leave the interaction thinking that they have everything they need in order to complete that task. So some time passes, and then you return later to see what they've done, and you're dumbfounded when you discover that what they've produced is not what you were expecting at all, and that there was some important piece of communication missing between the two of you. AI seem to be the exact same way in this regard, and the more time you spend working with your AI partner to get on the same page about what you want to build before you start building it, the better results you'll tend to have. This is what I've seen echoed online from people who seem to be having a lot of success with Cursor, and it's what I've experienced myself the few times I've been actually patient enough to not speed through the planning phase. The results have been much better. In my case, with this project, my coding assistant just started building SVGs of everything, and they looked okay at the beginning, and we continued to build, but as we got closer to the end, it became apparent that the SVG approach was not going to work, or at the very least, it was not going to outlast my patience. We struggled getting the placement of different objects in the living room to look right, and the movement of animals also felt very clunky. It was late at night, and I was starting to lose my mind going back and forth with this AI assistant about how the mouse was jumping in a way that looked awkward, so I decided to call it a night and told myself that I'd pick things up again in the morning. The next morning, I decided to spend some time looking at our different options for different libraries we could use. I had known about a library called Three.js for some time and had a suspicion that this might be a better tool for the job. And after going back and forth a bit with the AI and spending more time in the planning phase, we decided to move forward with this approach. Instantly, things started working much better. Julia came into the office at one point, and while I wasn't planning on gathering user validation this early, the signs were positive that what I was building was on the right track. The last mile of any development project always seems to take the longest, and this one was no different. I went back and forth, making some tiny tweaks on the animal movements and getting the timing of the audio files right. One thing that I already knew coming into this project, but that was again strongly reinforced, is that having a basic understanding of whatever libraries or frameworks you're using is super important. There were times where my AI assistant would not be able to fix something after repeated requests. For example, when the bird was facing the user, for some reason it only looked like it had a single wing. Had I known more about Three.js or enough time and patience to dive deeper into the documentation, I would have been able to get my hands dirty in the code and fix things myself. Instead, I just kept telling the AI that the bird's wings were messed up, and we spent quite a bit of time in a loop. Anyways, after a few hours, I had the game good enough to go. I deployed it to Vercel, loaded the page in a web browser on my TV, and here's what happened.
Should we hope so? Right.
So overall, super fun project. Quick tip if you are watching this and if you have a cat and if for whatever reason you're interested in building something like this for your cat, Julia actually seemed much more interested and engaged with the game when she was looking at it before I put this fancy background in, when it was just a white background and animals running around on the screen. A perfect example of me just assuming that I know what my users want rather than actually getting that feedback from them, because she gave me no indication that she wanted a fancy background, but I put it in anyways. But You live and learn. So I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you're interested in learning more about how to code using AI for more serious projects than this one, I'm working on a course for that. It's for complete beginners. It's not quite ready yet, but the link to join the waitlist is in the description of this video. And yeah, hope you found this useful. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.